I do miss my beard, John. It's growing. It is getting there though. Decent, growing at a decent pace. Maybe another week, 5 days to a week, and I can actually like trim it and style it properly again, and it'll look like an actual beard. That'll be nice.
That's true. You know what I was gonna say, Mike? I was gonna say, you know, you said regular pace. I was gonna say, did you mean medium pace? Anyone that gets that, we can't really say it, but anyone that gets that, you get a little wink from me. It's a wink.
The 90s were a good time, John. Adam Sandler. He was very funny back then. Not so much anymore, if I'm honest, John. He's, you know.
Really? I like it. He has some campy stuff. It's still pretty fun to watch. It's not golden, but it's no Happy Gilmore, you know, but it's fun stuff. It's still pretty fun. Just kind of mindless there.
Yeah. So Bombi is going to be... Well, we don't know what he's playing yet. I believe this is going to be like an off-lane Wind Ranger. Maybe just the Pos 4, as that BB is on the Silencer. Yeah, it should actually be a Pos 4 Wind Ranger here. Core Silencer in the off-lane. Just still fair enough. I think for Bombi anyway... Wait, is it even a Pos 4 Wind Ranger?
I feel like it's not, because look at the regen on that BB. He's looking to be the... You know, regen slave here. Bombi setting himself up for... He's got the stick. He's got the circlet. He's looking for the core. So, core Bombi on his Comfort Wind Ranger. Lovely to see, Mike. Love it.
I'm still mad, by the way, that I don't have the Phoenix cosmetic for my Wind Ranger.
It's your fault, Mike.
It is my fault.
You didn't spend enough last time. You know.
It was a cavern crawl thing, though, wasn't it?
I think so. I think I spammed the hell out of Dota 2 playing Wind Ranger, getting reported just to get those items. I remember that. I was getting so mad at each game because you had to do, you had to do certain objectives with a hero, and sometimes you wouldn't win. So I was just like spending like a full week doing that. Was worth it though. Definitely worth it, Mike.
It's worth it now.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I didn't know the Phoenix actually flies around when you're running around sometimes. That's pretty cool. Makes me even more mad that I don't have it.
Still, we're going to see those lanes break out. Bombi here, of course, in the Wind Ranger we've been talking about. Up against Lance and Mozen on the Oracle. Should be a stable lane. Jocam's going to have to play around, try to pull waves, get some EXP going. They can play aggressive, and you can see what happens. Bombi is forced to TP already.
Uh-oh, Bombi, he's made a mistake here. Getting trapped between that tree line. Went for the power shot on the range creep and did get it. But it costs him his life, and, well, you can't TP with the Fortune's End coming up from Mozen. Very unfortunate start for him, and definitely not the one you'd want to see if you are a 496 fan. Have a look at the mid lane, though, John. Hung is going to be up against DDZ on that Mars, and we have seen the DDZ Mars before, and he is quite dominant on this hero. So, could be a bit of a tough time for 496 if he does get himself off to a good start.
I'd say he already is off to a good start. 9-2 in last hits compared to our Void Spirits 5-0. It's not a huge wave coming in, so Hung has just been unable to secure those hits, which is good news for DDZ. We'll have to see if Hung can get that smooth ramp up to his level 6. If he can secure these power runes, there is some pressure there on Jocam and on that DD to get that happening, and ooh boy.
Yeah, it's a great spear out from DDZ. Hung luckily got the Resonant Pulse in time, otherwise he would have definitely been dead. That's the kind of pressure he puts on you as this Mars' bot lane Bombi. Once again, goes down on the Wind Ranger, still at level 1. I was going to say, the Fortune's End does purge off your Wind Run, so that may have been what it was, but he's still level 1. So he hasn't even been using the Wind Run yet.
Yeah, it's just been good punishment here from Star. Like, they saw that opportunity when the power shop is leveled, and Bombi just can't overextend. Lance is just so tanky, he can cop creep wave hits. Mozen has the control, they know how to play on the edge, and Bombi, once you're 2, maybe, but look at this, Lance doesn't care.
Just keep running at them, Lance. Getting tossed away now by Jocam. Avalanche is going to be there with the Fortune's End to fly out, but this bottom lane is very dominant out from the side of Team Stars. It's going to be quite difficult to catch up now, as you've just got such an XP disadvantage if you are 496. But we'll have a quick look at the top lane, John, the one we haven't looked at yet. Drew and DatBB are going to be there on the Silencer and the Jug, up against Yamate, and of course the Snapfire being played by Candyloon. And it's a very hard lane for DatBB, and as you can see, as soon as he gets battery assaulted and conked up, it's going to be a very, very easy kill to take for 496, or excuse me, for Team Star. And this is a really bad start for 496, as they are 0-3 already.
Yeah, this lane's just not too easy for Drew. He's finding last hits. You're not lagging too behind as Candyloon, and of course it's a ranged hero. It's a melee hero up against a Snap. So Scatterblast is always going to be a big threat, which means Drew has to be very patient with the Blade Fury, and he hasn't even popped it. So they can't play aggressive because of that constant threat. And that BB, we're used to seeing these silencers play with the Glaives of Wisdom. That BB was forced to go for Arcane Curse and Last Word, so he doesn't have any trade potential at all. And Star can just keep playing this aggressive.
Yeah, I don't know about this item, this skill build up here from the Silencer. Candy, oh, he gets Drew now. When I look away for a second, Drew, Canlin was by himself. And Drew, I'm not sure what he's done, but he gets soloed by the Snapfire. Definitely very bad news for him. That's a 4-0 already for Team Stars. Yeah, I mean, you look at that BB on that skill build, John, on the Silencer, it is not very dominant. You definitely want the Glaives to really apply some pressure in this top lane, but he hasn't gone for it. I'm not sure about this.
It's missing out an opportunity. You can't expect to do much with your Jug with this kind of build, and your Jug as well. With the levels up on Candyloon, you know, he's got the cookie, he's got level 3 Scatterblast, he's level 5 now. Drew needs to really be on point with the Blade Fury dodges, otherwise he is just dead.
Candy gets slowed down by the Arcane Curse. He's just going to TP out in front of them, though. There's just not much they can do to stop him from TPing away like that, so a nice play from Candy. Meanwhile, mid lane, DDZ still really dominating Hung. He's doubling his CS right now. Look at DDZ, just going for the arena. He doesn't have the spear yet, now has the mana for it, waiting it out, does finally get it off, but it is too late. Hung will barely survive with 29 HP. Joe Cam's going to make a bit of a chase onto DDZ, but I don't believe he can actually kill him. DDZ should just be fine. In fact, Yamate's going to come in now, and Joe Cam's going to be in trouble. Avalanche comes out. Yamate does have the brown boots, but Joe Cam has the tranquils up. He'll toss away DDZ. Yamate takes the double damage rune, and that's going to be the 6th kill of the game for Team Stars.
Yeah, that is nasty for 496. They're not finding any trades. Their form is really, really lagging behind. Look at Hung, 22-0 compared to DDZ at 38-8. Bombi on the offlane, 20-0 as well, compared to Candy at 26-8 and a kill. It's been slow going in 496. You don't have the Magnus this time, you got to remember. You don't have a way to flash farm here on the Jug.
Lance just chases Bombi down and takes him out. 7-0 with a 3k net worth lead here for Team Stars. This is becoming really one-sided now. Team Star, I mean, I'm not sure if it's just the drafting that's changed everything up for them, but they are looking extremely dominant in game number 2. I mean, I pointed out how good DDZ is on that mid-Mars. I suppose the mid-Mars is much stronger than, say, the mid-Rubik we saw last game. But man, 496 just don't seem to be able to keep up.
Oh,
Shackle bot lane, Mosin trying to make a run for it. He already has the heals out. He's going to be alright, and he'll just salve up. They just don't have the levels right now to kill anyone.
Yeah, and I'm staring at that BB, Mike. Level 3, he went Arcane Curse again. Not even 1-1-1 build, just no glaives.
I don't think it's too bad to go for the second level in Arcane Curse, but I'm just not sure about this. Drew's going to come down bot. They'll go after that tier 1 tower, but with the advantage Team Stars have, they know they can defend this. They've got the Mortimer's Kisses up. That BB going to be slowed up by the open wounds, but Joe Cam will toss him away. Now Drew, he does have the Omni, but oh, that's a problem. That BB going down. Drew not bothering to commit the Omni. as he wouldn't have got a kill anyway. Just won't have the damage output. And I love this from Team Star. They understand they have such a level advantage that they can defend this tier 1 tower indefinitely. And 496, they TP'd all their players down here to try and get it. It's a huge blow to the economy of 496.
They're not finding efficient farm. It's been a slow game for JoeCam. They aren't going to find objectives, and Lance is just so confident. He's just up front.
Again. Oh, JoeCam. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're even bothering at this point being at the bot lane anymore. Lance is going to chase him down. DDZ gets Bombi up at the top lane. It has literally become 10-0.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's a really, really... I want to say good performance from Team Stars, but at the same time, 496, they are making some peculiar decisions.
Very, very peculiar. And we kind of talked about it from draft, though, right? We saw the Wind Ranger come out for Bombi, and then we know he likes to play it a bit greedier on 1. And they switch their roles again. And this always kind of backfires or just gets amazing. And now Hung.
And Hung take down Mosin. That's their first kill of the game, so Hung gets something for his team. Bombi at level 5, just about to hit the level 6 mark. We'll try and just get some levels up now. Does hit the 6. Meanwhile, Yamate has found JoeCam in that tree line on the Tiny. Doesn't have the level 6 in the clockwork yet, but is just going to chase JoeCam down and not allow him to try and farm up a blink. It's even the spear from DDZ hits the Tiny on the way. 496, I mean, if they want to try and catch up in this game, they're going to need to really get to farming. It's yeah. 5k deficit at 10 minutes is pretty insane.
It's pretty demoralizing if there were, and...
Yeah, Arena dropped to clear the trees. Spear going to be out. They've caught the Tiny out, and that is going to be another kill for DDZ. Into that tier 1 top tower. They even found a bounty rune for themselves.
Just value. Yamate, when you're ahead, you get the shovel out, and you get further ahead. 496. And they can't do the same defense play, right? Like, you see this clump up from Stars up top. They do not have the power to just counteract it. Like, Bombi's got 6. He can't do anything. He does have his Javelin, so there is some damage to be had with Focus Fire, but I don't know if he can find the angle at all.
Bombi going to go after Yamate. Does, of course, land the Shackle into the Focus Fire. Yamate a bit tankier than you would hope as he hook shots away. Spear is going to be out, but now the toss in onto Hung. They will go after that Snapfire. The Astral Step back into DDZ. Candloon, he's dropping very low on the Snap and does drop. And now DDZ going to be in big, big trouble. As Bombi does come in, gets another nice Shackles, and they do get the kill. And that's going to help out the side of 496 quite a lot. They do get 2 pretty big core kills for themselves.
They did sacrifice their mid-tier 1 for that, so the space is used well by Lance. And Lifestealer just kind of soloing mid by himself. That's a big objective to take. You are setting yourself up here still for Star. Lance already has his Armlet, level 9 on the Lifestealer. We can see the Infest hookshot play soon, and Drew is still trying to push bot by himself.
Yeah, true. He has the spin, so he can just spin TP. Hookshot, it's going to be up in 4 seconds, so maybe he can't, but he'll just run away. He's going to be alright. Did opt for the MOM build this time around, which I do agree with, because when you are behind, you do need to be able to fight like this with the Jug. It's going to be a bit wary of DDZ, though, who does have the Yule Scepter up now. Can easily set up for a nice easy spear. But instead, Team Stars, they don't care about that. They'd rather just take objectives after that bot tier 1 tower now, and they are just making 496 run around in circles on the map, trying to follow them and stop them from pushing. You do see the smoke here from 496. That tier 1 bot tower is pretty set to go down. 496, I don't see them being able to get a kill here as 2. Yeah, they're just going to back off, but this is a lot of wasted time.
It is. They're not farming up. They're not building up. I'm looking at Bombi. He is going for a Maelstrom Rush here on the Wind Ranger, which, again, is it's what you're forced to do when you're this far behind. You just need something to help you catch up. The damage acceleration and focus fire is going to be good. If they can find the angles, it's been very wonky and going for this back and forths. Jokem does snipe out Bounty though, so you're going to be happy with his time use, and they're starting to line up mid. It's only Yamate around, but he should try to pressure. Hung does have some good levels up on his Void Spirit, is saving up for his own Yules. There's some potential here despite the net worth gap. I think 496 just need to get their game plan set. They're all just scattered around. They could easily go for a gank on solo heroes like you saw Lance all alone for a while. Just not finding those chances.
Hung. Astral Step away on the Void Spirit. EDZ looking for a target to try and go after on the Mars. So they aren't really going to be able to find anyone. Jokem around the corner though, on the Tiny. If he does pop his head out, he could be in a lot of danger as Lance is there, but he's going to play it smart and just sit back and be patient. Looks like Lance is not going to be very patient though. He wants another tier 2 tower. He's just going to get started. He knows there's not really much to stop him.
Yeah, it's 496. They just can't mount a defense. And, you know, talking about that potential in their lineup, we talked about, say, the Global Silence second the pace for them. They haven't even played around that BB6. We haven't seen one Global Silence. We haven't seen one opportunity come out. They're just kind of losing the map slowly.
Aether Remnant going to lock down Yamate, but he could still try for this hook shot. Simulate going to be there, but he knew. He knew exactly where he was going. He'll Astral Step out. Battery Assault is still going. It does connect. Oh, Hung. He was so close to TPing away. He'll dissimulate again. He'll go for a run, but here come the kisses. And they do break trees, of course. Is there anything the Snapfire hero doesn't do? Lance. Cogs is going to push him and just kill him out. Nice little Cogs there from Yamate. Meanwhile, Drew did push out the bot wave to try and slow down the push that has been coming out from Team Stars. They are still going to be 6k net worth lead behind 496. Lance just has the Deso in about 300 gold.
It's going to be pretty terrifying fighting into that Lifestealer now with how much he can rip through. And we've seen Lifestealers with that Deso timing before completely dominate. Considering how fast this is, it's going to be so scary for 496. They've got to be cautious here.
Jokem, nice toss back onto Yamate into the Omni Slash. Mosen has the false promise, does commit it on himself. Now DDZ looking for a spear. Drew, great spin timing, will be able to get out. Bombi now coming in, a great shackles out from him, but he's focus fired up the Mars. DDZ is very tanky. Here comes the Lifestealer Lance. He is very, very low though. Drew's going after him. They won't be able to finish him off, but they'll go after DDZ, and they will get the kill on the Mars. And 496, they are starting to come back into this game. Slowly but surely, they are catching up, and they're starting to look good.
Yeah, they're making it work. The overconfidence from Star really kind of catching them off guard there. They need to be a little bit more disciplined in these fights. 496, if they keep finding this punishment, well, from 6k down to 3k, Mike, and Bombi is starting to look pretty scary. And Maelstrom is up, and you saw what happened to that Morris. Like, that's supposed to be a tanky hero. It did not feel as tanky as it was a while ago, and Bombi is saving up for the BKB next. So you're seeing some key items fly out here for 496. And Drew, we were talking about 496 being behind, but Drew is right at the heels of Lance, nipping at those heels, Mike. 8.8k up against 9.3. So Jug is really not too far behind. SNY up, Mom up, MKB next, and Drew is just kind of bouncing back for his team.
Mid lane, they got a shackles off onto the clockwork, but Yamate is surviving with the mech out from Candy. Yamate will be fine. Still, advantage is there for Team Stars, but they are going to just focus in a bit on their own farm now. Understanding the advantage is not as high as it used to be for Team Stars, so they do need to take a bit of time here for Lance. Once the MKB is available though, things could get really scary for 496 again, but it looks like they are going to be on the aggressive before that time comes. So they are starting to move towards the top lane, but DDZ, he has the blink on the courier. If he had it when he saw those two heroes, he may have just jumped in for the kills. They do infest into DDZ. Looks like they do want to try and make a play. They are waiting for someone to try and farm this top wave. But Bombi's already pinged them out. He knows they're hiding around there somewhere waiting, but DDZ is going to jump in, gets the spear off, and that BB will be the unfortunate victim on the silencer. Team Stars, do they feel confident enough to try and go for that tier 2 top tower yet? Hung is going to show himself. Dangerous play, DDZ. He's going to take advantage of it with the spear out. No, Global Silence will be there. Now the avalanche toss out from Jokam onto Mosin. It won't be enough to kill him. And because of Hung's play, it does make it so that baby is forced to buy back to get the silence off, just to save his Void Spirit. And Stars, they can just keep fighting. Spear, not going to land. Jokam does juke it out. That tier 2 tower, not going to be feeling very safe, and they have gotten vision of Jokam now. Lance will just go after him. Jokam does go down to DDZ's shield.
Yeah, and that should open up the push here for the side of Star. 496 though, trying to make the most of it. Drew's trying to split off bottom. It's just looking too healthy to really trade, and it does fall. So Hung maybe a bit too, gun happy there still.
Bit of danger, does get the courier snipe on Mosin's courier, but the Fortune's End is going to follow him down. Yamate could go for the hook and does do so into Lance, who will be able to just whack away, but Hung, he had one more step. Does step himself out. So they do hold on 496, but the map is slowly getting a little bit smaller as time goes on.
It really is starting to shrink. Star, they're hitting these item beats quite well. That MKB you talked about on Lance, he is just 2 parts plus the recipe away. Candy Loon for his part, still saving up for the Guardian Greaves into the blink on our snap.
Yamate.
Once you have that,
in lane, getting caught out. Focus fire out from Bombi is not going to be enough. The false promise is going to save the day, but Drew wants to keep going for more, and he sees Lance and he goes for the Omni. It's a lot of damage out, but the Infest is going to save the day for him, as Drew now needs to try and back out of there, or maybe not. They're going back in with Jokam with the toss back onto Mosin. They get the Oracle. Now DDZ with the Arena holding down that BB. He should just die and does on the Silencer. Into Hung on that Void Spirit. Gets the Dissimulate off. Drew's trying to fight this one out, but it's not looking great for 496, or maybe it is. The Avalanche comes in. Jokam saving the day, or maybe he hasn't. The Aether Remnant gonna hold down Candy. They'll keep going. 496, they do start to clean up. There's another Shackles is gonna be there onto Yamate, but DDZ wants to keep fighting, jumps back in, but they have lost the clockwork. The spear is not gonna land onto Jokam, and that'll be Yamaz going down. A full team wipe out for 496. Team Stars, they thought they could outplay them. It did not work out that way though.
And they're giving 496 the opportunity to bounce back in. Like, they might have found Hung, but the game is starting to become about Bombi. It's starting to become about Drew. Now Drew's very close to his own MKB. Lance is kind of stalled out, and that is a very scary proposition. Chug finding that MKB first, going to give a huge damage swing the way of Drew. Even Bombi's given some space here to finish up the BKB. Just about 500 gold off now. So you're finding the second win here for 496. It's all down to Star not executing these fights. They need to take a step back, find their game plan. They need to play with the Infest properly. They haven't found targets with Yamate plus Lance in a while. They just need to kind of single out and get some kills.
Nice toss back onto the Oracle. Hook shot is only going to be on a creep, as Hung does hold him down with the Aether Remnant, but now the Arena is going to be there. They'll use up the Mars. That BP trying to TP, but will not make it out, and now the tiny Jokam is probably set to fall, and does. Mosin does get him with the Purifying Flames. And it looked like a good start there from Jokam, but ultimately the side of Team Stars was ready for it. They do look to rush the Roshan pit.
And this could be big if they take it for free. They know there's no global silence for about a minute 30. There's no Omni Slash, although it is back up now, but Drew is on the opposite side of the map. So no vision here for 496 to figure this one out. Free first Roche for the Way of Star. That's going to give them a little bit more leeway to have Lance in front to get these fights their way. And it should enable them to actually start playing aggressive again. Still, net worth drops down to 2k for their lead. It's actually shrinking down a bit as 496 is still getting some space out in the map.
That they are. Yamate staring down Bombi. Hook shot gonna be on point in the cogs out. Bombi gonna try and focus fire, but DDZ is gonna be there with the control and does take him out. But Jokam in the toss off onto Yamate. It's a tanky target, and with the false promise, he might survive a bit longer. He'll go for the TP, but that'll be cancelled. Mosin will not make it out either. He also dies to the damage of Drew, and Yamate may have just gone way too far. And you know, John, all these kills that have been happening could be giving that BB in, but he doesn't have a point in Glaives of Wisdom yet. So...
yeah, I don't know about that. He really did go all in, didn't he? Not even a value point. What?
It just... That stolen in can be so frustrating, especially up against heroes like the Mars, who have such a bad mana pool. Candy, Drew's going to run into him, but they don't get him in time. He will be able to TP out. But I thought there'd be so much value in stealing in away from heroes like the Mars this game, but
Yeah.
even the Clockwork is... his mana pool is pretty crap. 530
Yep.
at level 13. It's a bit unfortunate that that BB hasn't gone down that route.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the value in having these spells up. It's just it doesn't really outdo the value in just having the Glaives of Wisdom. So we'll see what that BB does in the end. He's gonna have to level up next, surely, at level 11. He's gonna have to get the value point. Is this a challenge he gave himself? Is this a challenge?
The dumbest silencer ever in Dota
Yeah,
2's
yeah.
history.
Yeah. No big brain.
No big
Just
brain.
moderate
silencer.
brain.
Not even moderate brain, John. Just no brain.
No brain cell. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair enough. Still, you know,
Agree.
they're looking.
Hung. We're trying to go for the hook shot Fortune's end play there, but Yamate not opting to try for the hook shot as he didn't really have any vision left of the enemy. While all this is happening, Drew is pushing out that bot wave and is looking very, very farmed at the moment. And as well as that, Hung does have the Aghanim Scepter up now, so things do get a lot more difficult for Team Star.
Yeah, it's, that silence always ruins these fights, and if they're not careful, Hung can really make that work. Although,
Nice hook shot in, straight onto two with the cogs on two as well. Bombi's BKB'd up, but the damage from the Lifestealer is way too high. Lance will get a double. Into that tier 2 tower they go. I mean, it was meant to be strong, but not if they get initiated on like that. With Yamate getting a double hook shot and double cogs. That'll be your tier 2 mid tower now, dropping to Lance. Drew split pushing the bot lane though. They're not going to respond. They're going to try and push out the mid wave instead. Hung, going to buy time. Lance going to pop the rage, and it's just so much damage out onto Hung. He's forced to leave. Meanwhile, Yamate trying to deal with Drew, but he's just fighting back, and now DDZ going to be forced to TP in, trying to take him out. He should have the Omni up, and does, but he will go for the spin TP play. He's going to make it out just fine.
it does force a response that stops the push here from Star. So that's the right play for Drew. And they keep drawing it out. It's a 4K lead now for Star. They have managed to bounce back in. 496 needs to find a better use for that Ags on Hung. They were just farming a bit too long. They don't really reveal anything. They do still have the Omni Wall. Some of the bigger spells are down on Star. They have options, but look at this.
DDZ, Arena, and Spear out. That BB being caught out, but he's not dead yet. He'll get his spells off before he does die, but there's going to be no follow-up to them, and DDZ, he will purge them off with the Yules. Team Stars, if they want, they're in position again to try and force a high ground push. Hung's going to clear out that mid wave. Yamate looking for a hook shot. He's going to get it perfectly again onto Hung, who's out of Astral Steps. but he's going to make a run. Looks like he will probably just outrun the clockwork. Nobody else is going to try and chase him down as DDZ is going to run into Drew now with a nice spear out.
Oh boy.
They have the follow-up, Drew. It won't last long enough. They will just continue to posture around this mid lane and threaten with their presence. The game is a little bit too close to take any huge risks for either team. They just have to stick as 5 now.
Yeah, it's all about looking for those safe objectives now for Star. They can't actually pierce the high ground until the next Roche, but they're still playing that jungle and
Jokam, he went in for a toss, but the Glimmer Cape was there already. Great presence of mind out from our Oracle. Now the Spear and Arena back onto that BB. Who, by the way, John, hasn't hit level 11 yet, so he still doesn't have those glaives.
Oh boy. Ooh, he's gonna need that EXP, Mike. Would not be a good sign if you end this game with no level 11. No glaives of wisdom. This is why they're not finding the angles. There's no wisdom here, Mike. Without those glaives, there's no glaives of wisdom. They don't know what to do. They've got this Ags on Drew, along with the MKB, so Swift Slash is in play. Drew just needs to not get caught out, actually start pumping the damage. It needs to come soon, though.
Shot is going to be on to Drew. Was he just trying to TP back to the base?
Yep.
I believe he was. Oh, Bombi. The BKB is not going to help with the wind run when the MKB is up for Lance. Drew going to spin his way through, but the Infest was already there on the Lifestealer. They got that tier 3 top tower, and that'll be enough. It's a nice slow siege here from Team Stars. It's Drew. There's no hookshot available on Yamate at the moment. Arena, however, is going to be there from DDZ, and he has caught out the tiny Jokam. Swift Slash does go through from Drew, but he's been bashed up by Lance. He is going to still be able to run away, but now Hung's going to be in danger. He'll dissimulate, try and get himself out, but the hookshot is there from Yamate with the Cox pushback. They do get the kill, but he'll buy it back. They can't fight, though. It's still a 5v3. There is just no point. That might have been a bit of a preemptive buyback from Hung, so they are not going to be able to punish anyone from Team Stars.
No, they just pull back. They know they're ahead. They've got a 12k lead, 27 to 12. They've taken that tier 3. They're forcing buybacks from 496, and 496 is still sort of struggling here. Like, they've still got a lot of power on Drew, but Drew alone is not enough to turn this game. Hung needs to be able to step up, and it's just getting worse. There's a Ags up and Candy Loon, so gobble up saves and offensive gobble ups are now an option here for Star. And we still have to see the Infest gobble up play. I'm not sure if that will come out, but it doesn't feel like they need to play on the edge there. Right? Like, they're so far ahead, there's no need to get the combo off, but it would be nice if they did. 496 got to line up their fights. We've seen them win a couple of these fights before. They need at least 2 more fights back to back like that before they can safely be in a good spot. It's really not looking good for them. The best situation here, though, is that the Roche is a bit long, so they're not going to lose any major objective like that, but the high ground's always going to be under constant threat now.
Well, this is a very interesting position to smoke in. They're going to come in from behind 496. I do like this, but the smoke was already broken onto Hung. Mosen gonna back out. There is going to be a gobble up in onto Bombi. They have killed off Mosen at the very least, but Bombi does go down to the Wind Ranger. Now Jokam's already dead on the Tiny. Lance is going in straight onto Hung. They want the dieback on that Void Spirit, and with that Cox pushback, they might just get it, and they do. Drew's trying to run, or rather get an Omni, and does get one, but they are both going to survive, both Lance and Yamate with the spear back from DDZ. Drew Swift Slash not going to be good. The Lotus Orb was there. He's trying to spin TP. There is going to be no bash from Lance. But it is not looking good for this high ground defense attempt. It's a 5, or rather 4v2. They're going to lose at least 1 lane of rats.
Yeah,
maybe even 2.
Definitely. Like, there's no buyback here, no global silence from 496. Have to mention, Mike, we actually did see the Infest gobble up play. Lance was inside the clockwork, they got spat out, they dodged a global silence, and they found a kill. So it actually comes out here from Team Star. Second set of racks, as mentioned, being taken here, and Drew is forward, but he's fine.
Swift slash again on the junk. So that'll be the top racks and the mid-tier 3 going down. 496 slowly but surely losing their base. Roshan is back up as well, and it looks like the side of Star do want to go ahead and claim that Aegis. Aegis and Cheese, of course, going to be up and available on this Roshan. 496, they can't really afford to let it go down for free. Problem is, I don't believe they can actually fight. So, they haven't really got much of a choice in the matter.
Yeah, they don't have Omni Slash for 45. They don't have Global Silence for 15. Timing was just off and just perfect for Star.
DDZ, he's got Joe Cam again. Pops his BKB chance just in case they want to counter-initiate, but they did not. That was actually just his 7-second charge anyway, not too big of a deal. And I believe we're going to see another Gobble Up Infest play, John.
Oh boy, come on. Yes.
Buckle up. In we go, but nobody's there. Yamate, thinking about the hook shot, won't throw it out. They'll go back for the mid-racks. Hung, he's going to try and delay this with the Dissimulate, but there's your Abyssal Blade coming out from Lance. Won't be long enough. Now, how do you defend this? I mean, Shackles is going to bounce back to Bombi. Spear is out on Drew, but they just ignore him. They just want the lanes of racks. Oh, Swift Slash is there. Lance still going to be just fine. He has the Aegis in case he dies anyway. Which is why they're not committing the Omni from the Jug. The Star, they could slowly push out that bot lane and eventually just get Megas.
They definitely can. 496 need to find a way to make this draft. They've got the BKB up in Bombi. He has not been able to do much with it, as you mentioned, down to 7 seconds as well for Wind Ranger. Their silences have just all been defensive. They are smoked up. If they can find one key pick-off on at least even just a support, they'll take it right now. If you can blow up the Oracle before anything else happens, you can maybe win the follow-up, but they're not going to run into a support.
Oh, smoke broken as well. They're looking for where the person is, but DDZ, he didn't even get connected with the dust. He's still invis on the high ground. Gobble up. Infest is there. Yamate looking for a hook shot. Will go straight onto Hung, but no, he goes after Bombi instead. Lance just rips the Wind Ranger apart. They'll both buy back into Candy now. They do at least get the snap by with that Omni, but Drew, he's stuck in the arena. DDZ's got him, and that'll be Drew going down without buyback. Bombi looking to die back here, does go down as well. And I dare say we're approaching the end of the game now. Joe Cam is trying to run. Lance on the chase. Mortimer's kisses are out. That's your third dieback. Fourth dieback, in fact, as DDZ does get the silencer as well. And it's literally Hung versus the world now.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard defense. He's going to have to surrender to tier 2 bot for sure. The high ground, though, it's a bit of a harder proposition as well. And yeah, no, they call it 496 knows. It's too much. Way too much net experimentation.
That it is. I mean, I didn't mind the draft they had. I just didn't particularly like the way they were running it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, execution was flat. Like, Bombi Wind Ranger, it's a spectacular thing. Drew was finding farm. He was never too far behind